Welcome to another episode of Crochet 101, and in today's episode we're going to learn how to work a single crochet. If you still haven't seen the first episode of the series, so please go check it out. You'll learn how to hold the hook and yarn, how to make a chain, and of course how to make a slip knot. So after we chose our favorite way of working a slip knot out of the 3 ways I showed in the previous video, and we learned how to chain. For this practice, chain 10. When you work a single crochet into the foundation chain, you always skip the first chain here. This one is chain 0, the one on the hook, and we never count this chain. This is the first chain, and we go into the second chain, the chain next to the first one. To make sure you insert your hook into the right place, you have to identify the 2 loops. This is the front loop and this is the back loop. You're going to insert your hook between the loops. Like this. And next you're going to yarn over. Grab the yarn with your hook into the loop that we just inserted the hook into. Then you'll have 2 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over into the 2 loops. And this is your first single crochet. Let's do that one more time. Insert your hook into the chain, yarn over, and into the loop again. When you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over into the 2 loops. And now you have 2 single crochets. How to know how many single crochets you did up until now? You just take a look at the top of your work and you can see that you have this V shape right here. This is 1 stitch and this is the second one. Now let's talk about the mistake that most beginners make, which is working the stitch too tightly. If you work the stitch too tight, you won't have enough space to insert your yarn into the loops to close the single crochet. To avoid that, you're going to insert your hook into the loop, yarn over, and when you insert your hook back into the loop, do it loosely, like this, and make sure that the loop is spacious enough. Yarn over into the 2 loops. And now we have 3 single crochets. Another mistake a lot of beginners make is holding the hook too closely to your finger and not having enough room to take the yarn into the loops. The best way to hold your work is as close as you can to the stitch that you're working into with your croc's mouth, and a lot of space to grab the yarn here. So you have to pull your finger as much as you can from the hook. Let's do that one more time. Insert your hook into the chain, grab the yarn, and into the chain. When you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over into the 2 loops. And now that we know how to count our stitches, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochets up until now. So continue working your single crochets until the end of the row. Make sure you have 10 single crochets. So what do we do when we got to the end of the row and we made sure that we have enough stitches? What we do is we're going to turn our work like this and have the back of the work facing us. And since we changed the direction, the last single crochet we did is now our first single crochet. So what you're going to do is insert your hook under those 2 loops. It's very important to insert your hook just under those 2 loops and not under it or only into one of the loops in order to make your work firm enough. So you're going to insert your hook into this hole right here under the 2 loops. So take your hook, insert it under the 2 loops, yarn over into the loop, and again you'll have 2 loops on your hook. I'm going to yarn over into the both of them. And this is your first single crochet of the new row. Moving on to the next stitch, again find that little hole under the 2 loops and insert your hook into that hole here. Yarn over into the loop. When you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over into the both of them. Move to the next stitch and insert your hook under it. If you space out the stitches, you can see exactly where you have to insert your hook into. The last stitch can be a little challenging, but make sure that you insert your hook under the 2 loops and not just under one of them. And this is very important for beginners. At the end of each row, you're going to make sure that you have the same amount of stitches that you had from the beginning, from the foundation chain. Again, how to count your stitches. You're going to take a look at the top of your work, and each of these horizontal V's is a stitch. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Crochet 101, and I'll see you at the next episode.